Hey everybody, welcome to the newest installment of my lore series for Fire Emblem 4. I wanted to talk about something that a lot of people haven't brushed up on yet, and that's the lore of Fire Emblem 4. Everyone likes the storyline. Everybody's aware of, the Loptrian Church. They're aware of who Loptir is. They're aware of the Holy Blood users. They're aware of the miracle of Darna, but they really don't. A lot of people, I should say, don't really know too much more other than the surface level knowledge. I want to be able to just spread the conversation a little bit and actually just be able to talk with people and open up the discussion on what our headcanons might be for the series. But to start it off, I just want to start off with the actual start of absolutely everything that we know of from Jugdral. Sure, we have that reel at the start, and if you look at the Fire Emblem's wiki, they also have a little timeline of everything too. But like I said, they really only skim the surface of everything, and I want to put it more into more thought out detail. I went down, I got some notes and everything put together for this video. I even made this here nifty little slideshow. I hope this is better quality than everything that I've made so far. I'm trying my best to up everything, but I've only been making videos for about 4 weeks now, so I'm not perfect with it yet. If you like the series, though, like, comment, subscribe. I appreciate the help a lot. The next video is going to be on the Loptrian Church itself, and after that, I want to make a video discussing just Selif's story in general. But I also kind of want to wait until I'm done my FE4 ranked run, until after I do that, just because I'm going over the story and I'm doing voice acting for everybody. I know it's not the best voice acting, but I want to put as much life into Jugdral on this channel as I possibly can. So, to start things off, a lot of people don't realize this, but Jugdral is a lot older than every other spot, in all of Fire Emblem that we know of, because we know that we know that Arcania, Valentia, and Jugdral, we know that they're all in the same region. And if I'm not mistaken, I believe Fates is a fairy tale told to people in Awakening. So technically, I guess you could throw that one in there as well. So we have about 5 games sprung together in a sequence, and sure, being a fairy tale, we don't know how far back Fates could be. Fates could be just as a fairy tale told in Jugdral, could be told in earlier civilizations. We don't really know yet. I think it's an older story just due to how civilization is in the Fate series, but that's just my tangent. The only thing that we know that's older than Jugdral and the people who live there are the Divine Dragons and the Earth Dragons. Here's a couple pictures of some of the Divine Dragons I managed to find. All pictures are available on either Google or the Fire Emblem's wiki. I never cropped out anyone's name for any artwork I did. I really don't know if anybody made anything, but I wanted to make sure if someone had credit, I wanted to make sure that they got it. But these pictures, they all came from the wiki, so this here one should be good. The only thing that happens, before the people came in, like I said, were the Divine Dragons. Duma and Milla, they had their falling out, and it split Valentia in half. That's it. But one thing that I came across is, I'm pretty sure that the Jun River, which is the river in the prologue that you have to cross because the bandits beat it out, right next to where you spawn in Chapter 1, and right next to where you spawn in Chapter 2, I believe that this here is the actual birthplace of the human civilization, because it says so at the start that this is where the first early humans in Granvale started. And where this one's so much older than every other story that we know, I genuinely believe that this here itself is the birthplace for the modern humans in the Fire Emblem franchise. And I think that's quite interesting, because I couldn't find any information about humans in Fire Emblem before, where it mentions the people right here. So this very well could be the very start. But like I said, the grand calendar, it starts 1386 years before the Arcania or Valentian calendar, and it starts 1180 years before the Arcanine calendar, which that is absolutely mind-boggling. That is a long time for nothing to be happening. For nothing to be happening. In the year 139, however, in the year 156, it was declared a republic, which is still 230 years before the Milla faithful and the Duma faithful even became a thing. So we're talking a long time before anything else that happened. The year 440 on the grand calendar is the same year that Naga led a battle against the Earth Dragons, which I made a picture right here to explain. Naga, that's the one who lives, or that is possessed inside the Naga tome that Julia can hold in Generation 2 in the very last castle. It is a very, very strong tome, to say the least. But that same year, Gare, that's when he left Jugdral, because he wanted to go get just a taste of blood from a dragon. Because he felt like if he got some blood from a dragon, then he would 100% have powers that nobody could explain. That being said, it was true. But Loptir, he gave... Well, I think Loptir is a guy. Loptir gave Gare a book, and that their book was possessed by Loptir itself, and the only person that could actually read the book or use the book, like the tome itself, like in battle, would be someone who was fully blooded by Loptir itself. I believe this is because I know Earth Dragons never put their power inside of Dragonstones, but I believe that Loptir somehow had one and put it inside of the book, which is why I know he's evil, but he managed to stay sane enough to start, an empire that worships him. So, I feel like he's kind of in the same realms as where Naga is inside her book and Forseti is inside his book as well. But Forseti, he just completely loved the lands and he didn't want to leave. So he's not like as strong of a dragon as what Loptir is or as what Naga are. But Loptir, he's still 100% a dragon. And since Julia, we don't really have enough time with her to know if she gets possessed by Naga or not. But, we know that Loptir and Forseti both possess the person that is holding their book at the time. Lowen, we really don't know how much of Lowen is left. He cries for Tinny if Tinny is his daughter. But on top of that, he won't shed a tear if his own wife dies. It's... it's to varying degrees, whereas Julius, he is full-blown sociopath with no feelings at all other than maybe for Ishtar. It's really convoluted how far the possession goes for each character, but, this really all that we can do right now. This game came out in 1996. I'm going with absolutely everything that I possibly can. But here's a this isn't a picture of Gare getting blood from the dragon. This was just somebody who I believe is Fire Emblem 6 or 7, with the dragon. I just wanted to show what it possibly could have looked like. And here's a picture of Loptir itself. Loptir, he then returns and he starts up the church because he wants to resurrect the dark god itself. It's not fully declared if the body itself of Loptir is killed in battle with Naga, because Naga kills all the Earth Dragons and seals their soul inside of a sealed table, I guess, with all sorts of weapons, which then gets sold in the events of Fire Emblem 1 happen, because everyone knows about the Medius story. I'll go back and I'll cover that some other time, but right now, I want to cover Jugdral. 7 years after his return, the Dead Lords, they then start they then start a resistance battle for the church. In a way, it's really sad, because then 100,000 people, they start getting massacred in the Great Purge. And those are people that really didn't deserve to die, but the people of the Empire, they felt like they had no other choice but to sacrifice all these people to get Loptir back, because Loptir is completely insane, and they just really wanted their god back. And as you'll see later on, that I'm going to do a separate video of the events of Fire Emblem 4, but you'll see that the modern day church, Loptir is all they had. Loptir is all they believed in. And then in Militos, they started up sacrificing everyone's children, and that is thought to be the very first child hunt. Later on in in Generation 2, I think the child hunts happen because they want to kill off all the Holy Blood kids, so then Loptir doesn't have any threat at all. I think that's why they started resetting the child hunts, because the Dead Lords, they were still there. I mean, it seemed like the Loptrian Empire, they really had a stranglehold on everybody at that point. But that's just my headcanon for now. Also, House Edda, where Claude's from, so it's weird to think that this happened to House Edda. They had 10,000 people killed to tribute to the Dark Lord as well. After this here, Maedra, he was Gair's brother. He said, listen, this is enough. Like, we need to start being more peaceful with everything, or else everybody is going to die. There's going to be no one left for us to actually rule over. Like, this is evil, this is sadistic, like, something needs to happen. He wanted to build a resistance for himself. Oh, sorry. Here's a picture of the Dark Cult, and here's a picture of the Dead Lords. So, Mare, he wanted to leave, he wanted to raise resistance, but Gair was like, no, and sent him to go in exile to the forest of Verdane, which sadly, him getting sent to Verdane in the Spirit Forest, that really led to the Loptrian blood never dying off, because since he was over there, no one knew about him. So after Loptir got killed off later on in the Holy War, Maer, him and his family, they were just chilling. Like, they had no idea that they were being prosecuted. They had no idea of anything on the outside world. They were just there, not allowed to leave, because there was always a rumor, like, oh, if someone leaves here, like, he'll bring great chaos to the world. And so he just stayed there. And if he stayed behind, Loptir never would have risen again. But him being noble and wanting to stop it, that's what made Loptir carry on. And like, honestly, like, that's almost heartbreaking if you ask me. So then in the year 611, the Empire just fully started wiping out everything. All the warriors, they were then sent. Oh, sorry. Here's Melitos Edda. Here's the Spirit Forest. I'm not very good yet at changing these slides, and I have to apologize. I really do have to apologize. In the year 611, the warrior resistance against the Empire had finally begun. Albeit powerful warriors, they were destroyed by the Emperor. Pushed back to the Darna and the E Desert as their final resistance, only then did Naga learn of the events. She then sent 11 dragons, including and herself, to aid in the battle against the Earth Dragon Loptir, who was still in control, as Naga wanted to bring balance to the world one last time. And that's where the desert is, or Darna is. You guys were there. It's ironically really close to the Eid Shrine, which is where the modern day cult was hid out. Like, it's the closest castle nearby. Like, you think that they would have been wiped out for sure there. So, after a few greetings, the dragons then started what is now known as the Miracle of Darna, where the dragons appeared in human form, cut their fingers so a little bit of blood would appear, so the human warriors could ingest it. That would grant them the holy blood to use the weapons that we know as today as holy weapons. Each of the holy weapons, like I mentioned before, they were inscribed with a small dragon stone, so the only person that could use it had to have the corresponding holy blood. Like, it works out pretty well, but it also made it so that those units would have a lot more, HP, strength. Most of them have extra HP. Holy Blood loves giving out extra HP, but they all give benefits to the stats that each dragon was best at itself. And then after a couple more words of wisdom, the dragons were gone, as if they were never there, as if they never existed, and the only thing remaining of them was the weapons. The only one that would remain would be Forseti himself, which is why the Forseti tome is named after him, which is a trait not shared by any of the other holy weapons besides Naga and Loptir, but they were the leaders of their respective branches, so it's understandable why they would have their names cemented. But Forseti, he was just your average dragon, so the fact that he got to keep his name, I like to think Forseti is a green dragon. I'm sorry, but that's just my headcanon as well. It's like Forseti is a green dragon, and it's the same dragon you get in the Thracia 776 Special Edition box. If you don't know what I'm talking about, you can see. And here's a chart of all the holy blood for later on. And that's Forseti. Let's not interfere with human affairs, Forseti. And Forseti says, of course. But he's lying, because Forseti loves the humans. And there's Loptir and Naga. Everyone who's beaten Fire Emblem 4 has seen this, because Fire Emblem 4, Naga just destroys Julius. And that's fun to watch, because when you look at him in the battle screen for anyone else, he would just absolutely wreck. So the Miracle of Darna, It also kicked off the very start of the First Holy War, which lasted about 15 years until Jugdral was free of the Loptrian Empire, and expected to be free of the Loptis blood. But as pre-mentioned, Loptir wasn't killed off, as it was living on Maria's ancestors deep inside the spirit forest of Verdane. Then finally, in the year 649 of the Grand Calendar, the modern area of Jugdral has finally begun, which is still 531 years before Arcania was founded, and 737 years before Valentia was founded. So that really goes to show just how old Jugdral is compared to absolutely everywhere else in the Fire Emblem universe. Now, if you made it this far, thank you for watching. That's the end of the video. I appreciate your time. I would appreciate if you like and subscribe. You're going to get more of these lore videos. I promise the quality is going to go up over time. It's just getting your foot in the door. It's always a little hard starting out. So once again, thank you everybody for your time. You guys enjoy your day, and I'll see you in the next one.